Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Hope you've all been keeping safe and well and have been enjoying the summer if you've been able to get out and about a bit lately. This is my August favourites video, and I'm sorry that it's a bit late, but I've still got my aches and pains, my ailments going on that I've mentioned before. I think I'm now getting somewhere with them with the help of an osteopath and by figuring a few things out myself. I think I'm finally getting somewhere, but even if I'm right, then it's still going to take a little while for my body to kind of settle back down and kind of repair itself. So I'm not going to be too complacent, but I think I'm heading in the right direction at last. Touch wood, fingers crossed, but we'll see how things go. But I've not been doing too bad recently, and thank you to everyone for the birthday wishes they sent me during August. I had a nice relaxing week then. Got some nice treats in from Hotel Chocolat, thanks to a friend of mine giving me a gift card, and treated myself in M&S as well. And I got a few bits and pieces from my relatives as well, some money and one or two other little gifts. But my main gift is going to be the iPhone 13, which my mother's very kindly paying towards, because I've had my iPhone 6 for several years now and it's dying. It's not fit for purpose anymore, really. It's going to be a huge upgrade from the 6 to the 13, going by Apple's recent launch event, which was audio described and also available with sign language as well. They make it accessible, which is great. But yeah, it looks like a very cool phone, and it's going to be much better than the phone I had. If you're upgrading from, say, the iPhone 12 to the 13, there's not really a lot of difference that makes it worth upgrading. But from the 6 to the 13, it's going to be a huge leap for me. So I'm looking forward to getting that. I'll probably wait a little while to see what the initial reaction from other consumers is, and then I'll probably jump in and get it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that to bring myself up to date. So yeah, that's my birthday. I enjoyed that. And if you want to read about another birthday, then go and check out one of my old journal posts I've been sharing as a Throwback Thursday feature on my blog, because recently I wrote about November 2007 when my nan celebrated her 100th birthday, and we visited her in London, and she got a card from the Queen, of course, stuff like that. So we had quite a nice little time there, and you can read about it in my diary. So go and check that out. My other journal posts that I'm sharing as well. I know people are enjoying those. But back to the present, and let's talk about August this year. I didn't go out and about like a lot of people have been able to do, which is a shame, but there's still plenty of bits of entertainment that I've been enjoying, like sport, comedy, music, and other little bits and pieces. So there's various bits and pieces to mention. None of it is sponsored or gifted as usual. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Let's just crack straight on with it. So the big events over the summer were, of course, the Olympic Games and Paralympic Games, and all credit to Tokyo. They managed to pull off both events very successfully, despite being in such difficult circumstances, so very well done to them. I mentioned them both briefly in my previous favourites post, but now that both events are complete, I've made a dedicated post about both events, showing my highlights and things like that. So do go and check that out for all the detail, the things that I enjoyed. I'm just going to gloss over them here briefly. The Olympics, the BBC couldn't show quite as much as they used to be able to because of new rights deals, but they still showed plenty of sport, and I was able to find all the highlights that I wanted to. So they did show everything in one way or another. But yeah, I've already mentioned people like Charlotte Worthington and her incredible BMX skills, and Tom Daley finally getting his gold medal in the diving. Our gymnasts and equestrian performers were also great, and Jason Kenny finished us off in style in the velodrome by becoming the most successful British Olympian of all time, with 7 gold and 2 silver medals to his name. And overall, Team GB ended up with 65 medals, made up of 22 gold, 21 silver and 21 bronze. So big congratulations to everyone there. You've made us proud as usual. And then of course we had the Paralympic Games, which I paid most attention to naturally, being a disabled person myself, and they were fantastic. Channel 4 covered them extensively once again, which is brilliant, and they'll also be doing that for Paris 2024, and they'll also be doing that for the Beijing Winter Paralympics as well in March next year. So there's some more events to come much sooner than that. So yeah, it's great that they gave it so much coverage, and they had the last leg on every night, of course, the comedy show that launched during the 2012 Olympics. So they had lots of Paralympians being interviewed. They even had the daughter of Sir Ludwig Gutmann, the man who established the Paralympic movement in the first place with the Stoke Mandeville Games. Her name is Eva Luffler, and she appeared in the studio one night, which is brilliant. It was a great honour for them. And then various comedians also joined in as usual, of course, adding a nice humorous slant to proceedings. So they were either helping the hosts take part in some para-sports themselves, which was quite fun, or just appearing in the studio, like Chris McCausland, the blind comedian, and Lee Ridley, Lost Voice guy as he's otherwise known. And then, while they had to film the show in London's Olympic Park, because they couldn't obviously travel due to the COVID restrictions, they were able to send comedian Rosie Jones out to Tokyo, and she's got cerebral palsy, and she had a fantastic time out there and was really enthusiastic about it all, and got quite emotional as well. I think had a bigger emotional impact on her than she'd expected. But anyway, there was a lot of great sporting action, and I've listed many highlights in my blog post. But just to whip through the list very quickly, there's wheelchair rugby, for example, which is always a highlight because it's fun and brutal to watch. And Great Britain won that. It's the first time a European team has won any Paralympic medal in that sport, so it's a massive achievement. In the cycling, all 20 members of our team got at least 1 medal each, which is brilliant, including Dame Sarah Storey, who has now become the most successful British Paralympian of all time because she earned her 15th, 16th and 17th gold medals at these games. And there are also 2 golds won by visually impaired couple Neil and Laura Fackie within just 16 minutes of each other, which is very impressive. And there are also lots of successes in the athletics. So Hannah Cockcroft smashed her world record to win the 100 metres and stormed to victory in the 800 metres as well. So she's now got 7 Paralympic gold medals to her name. Johnny Peacock got a very respectable bronze in a very tight 100 metres. And then among the visually impaired track and field athletes, there was the javelin thrower Dan Pembroke, who won gold on his Paralympic debut. And there's a lot of people who've entered the Games for the first time who have won medals, which is brilliant. And runner Libby Clegg announced her retirement as well before she finished her Paralympics career with a silver medal in the Universal Relay event, which was a new event that combined people with different disabilities. Boccia had a very rare and thus welcome bit of exposure on live TV as David Smith successfully defended his title to win his 3rd gold medal in the sport. And David Smith also then got the honour of being the flag bearer for the closing ceremony for Team GB. And then Lee Pearson had a clean sweep in the equestrian events, winning 3 gold medals, and that takes his total to 14 Paralympic golds. So he's now Britain's 3rd most successful Paralympian ever. And we also had a great deal of success in the swimming pool as well, but the most memorable and emotional moments from the pool actually came from interviews afterwards. So Ellie Simmons, who was the poster girl for the London 2012 Games, of course, she announced that this would be her last Paralympics, more than likely. But one of the people she inspired through her stellar career was a lady called Ellie Robinson. There's quite a few Ellies in the Paralympics this year, it seems. And Ellie Robinson gave a very moving and inspirational interview after coming 5th in her final race, because she's had so many problems over previous years and she's had such guts and determination, and she really explained what she's been through, the condition she has, what she's had to fight through, and the impressive results she's got as a result of that are a prime example of the fact that it's not really about the medals, the Paralympics, but it's about the stories behind the athletes, their journeys here, the struggles they've had to go through, and all the odds that have been stacked against them. So yeah, that is just a few of the big achievements that Team GB had. We ended up with 124 medals in total, 41 gold, 38 silver and 45 bronze. And the GB team also made history by winning medals in 18 different sports out of the 19 we entered. And that's the most number of sports that any nation has ever won medals in a single Games. And also the Paralympics have helped to launch a campaign called We the 15, which is a global movement working to change attitudes towards disabled people and generate more opportunities for disabled people as well, who make up 15% of the global population, hence the name We the 15. So let's hope that helps to make a difference. So moving on to other things, and in terms of documentaries, I finished the series Secrets of the London Underground on yesterday, which was a fantastic look at lots of great hidden spaces, including abandoned stations and a huge shelter built for World War II and stuff like that in London. Presented by Tim Dunn, a rail enthusiast who has written an article about how the series was made, and Cindy Holloway from the London Transport Museum, who is an expert at these things and has all the keys to all these places. And then Secrets of the Museum on BBC Two was also very interesting, going behind the scenes at the V&A. I've mentioned that already before in a previous post. And I've also mentioned in terms of drama, season 7 of The Flash, that's still going on. I'm still enjoying watching that at the moment. So then moving on to comedy, and this month I've been checking out the New Zealand version of Taskmaster, which has been getting a lot of praise on social media, and quite rightly so. The American version wasn't very good. I've seen it before. Everyone agrees it was a bit of a flop, but the New Zealand version is pretty good. Takes a little while to kind of settle into things, really. Season 2 is better than Season 1, but Season 1 still has a lot of funny moments in it, so it's still well worth a look. I haven't heard of anyone on the show, of course, but it's easy enough to look them up on Google and Wikipedia, as I have done. But you don't really need to know who the people are on Taskmaster. That's the beauty of the show. You can just enjoy them completing the tasks in whatever way they decide to do so. It's always very funny. Jeremy Wells is the Taskmaster in this case. He's not as good as Greg Davis, who actually does appear in a cameo role in one episode, but he's still good, and by the time you get into Season 2, he's really getting into his stride a bit more, really feeling more confident about the role and settling into it better. And Paul Williams is excellent as the assistant. I think he's settled into that role very effectively. He's not copied Alex Horne, but he's done a similar kind of thing and made it his own, which is brilliant. And the contestants are all pretty good as well. There's one or two who are a bit irritating in the first season, I think, but ultimately it's a good mix of people, as always, as you'd expect from the show. And the tasks are very creative and inventive as well, which is good. They're not just copying tasks from the British series, they're actually doing their own. So yeah, I've enjoyed checking those out. I've just finished watching Season 2, which is good. And then we've obviously got Series 12 of the UK version coming up on September the 23rd on Channel 4, which I'm also looking forward to as well. Particularly Victoria Coram Mitchell and Alan Davis. I'm looking forward to both of them as contestants. And I've also continued to enjoy Alan Davis as yet untitled on Dave. They've had some good guests on there, such as Rosie Jones in a recent episode. There's been The Unbelievable Truth on BBC Radio 4, of course. And then, of course, beyond all of that, I've also been watching a lot of content featuring Sean Locke, who sadly died from lung cancer at the age of 58. Bill Bailey confirmed in an interview that it was lung cancer. But yeah, it's a great shame that he's gone. He was a very funny comedian, best known, obviously, for 8 out of 10 Cats and the Countdown spin-off from that show. but he's done stand-up as well. I've got all his DVDs, which I've now rewatched, of course, and the huge outpouring of love for him on social media since his passing from people on the comedy circuit and other entertainment stars and all his fans. It's so universal how much he's been admired and loved over the years. So yeah, basically, like everyone else, as a result of this, I've been going on a bit of a Sean Lock binge. As I said, I've watched his stand-up DVDs that I've got, which has been fun. I've also been watching his TV sitcom 15 Stories High, which the BBC have now put on the iPlayer, which is fantastic. And this is a bit of a surreal sitcom that actually originated as a couple of radio shows that I hadn't heard before, but I've been watching the TV series, as I say, about Sean's character, who's called Vince, and his new flatmate Errol, who's played by Benedict Wong, who actually went on to become a big movie star. And yeah, it's pretty good. It's not something I'd buy the DVD of, although there is a DVD out for it, but it was nice to watch it once. It's quite surreal in places. They get themselves into some strange situations, and yet they're plausible in a strange way. Nothing is kind of beyond possibility in a weird way. And there's some clever kind of setups for jokes and later plot points and things. So it's very well written. So I do recommend you check that out if you're a Sean Lock fan. Apart from that, I've also seen some episodes of TV Heaven, Telly Hell that Sean hosted. Not all the episodes are available online, but you can watch some that have been uploaded to YouTube. And basically, Sean chats with a different comedian in each episode about the things they love and hate on TV. So there's some quite interesting discussions there. And I've also watched Series 4 of Argumental, which you can find on YouTube. And that's where Sean had taken over from John Sargent as the host. And basically, comedians are asked to argue for and against certain topics. So that's not quite as good as TV Heaven, Telly Hell, because Sean doesn't really get as much to do as the host. But it's interesting to see it again anyway. I had seen that before. And then Channel 4 have got lots of videos on their channel from 8 out of 10 Cats, and 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown, and a few from The Last Leg as well. And there's lots of classic moments basically in there, including the infamous Carrot in a Box game that he played against John Richardson twice, and there's the Weird and Wonderful mascots he brought onto Countdown, and various other random bits and pieces. And there's also a selection of favourite moments from QI that they've uploaded as well, which is nice to see. Then there's various other bits and pieces out there as well. There's interviews he's done on shows hosted by Jonathan Ross, Alan Carr, Graham Norton, Frank Skinner, and so on. You can look up. There's a campaign video he did for Shelter where he played a rogue landlord. There's his final public video where he promoted Edible London's Million Meals crowdfunding campaign to tackle food poverty. And there's all sorts of other bits and pieces as well, like some of his old stand-up and other bits and pieces that are out there. So I'm not going to say everything, but there's no point in recommending things to me either, because yes, I have dug through everything and watched the bits I want to see. So I just wanted to pay tribute to Sean Lock. He's going to be sadly missed in the comedy scene. And then from one notable death to a couple of others that are worth quickly mentioning as well as I go into the music side of things. And we obviously lost Charlie Watts during August at the age of 80, the drummer from the Rolling Stones, and a hugely important member of the group, naturally. And then Don Everly, the last of the Everly brothers, passed away at 84. So another couple of big names that have left us as well. But on a nicer note, the Rolling Stones have announced a 40th anniversary remastered edition of their album Tattoo You to be released in October in various formats with 9 previously unreleased tracks and a live concert from Wembley as well. And then a week before that, there's also a deluxe reissue of Let It Be by the Beatles as well, with loads of extra tracks. I've been buying Beatles box sets in recent years as they've been reissuing them, so I'm going to get this one as well. Madness, meanwhile, was showcased on Sky Arts during the month, where they showed the band's before and after documentary that was made for their 40th anniversary in 2019. And that was followed by a previously unbroadcast show called Suggs My Life Story, and Suggs is obviously the front man of the band, and he was basically talking to an audience about his life, and his recollections were illustrated by some specially filmed footage, and it was quite good fun. It has been out on DVD for quite a while. I've known about it for the last few years already, but I didn't know if it was any good or not, so I thought I'd wait until it appeared online or on TV or something before I checked it out. And yes, it is very good. It's very interesting, often funny, and sometimes moving as well. So I've now bought the DVD to add to my Madness collection. And then on to Queen, of course, and Brian May has reissued his 1992 solo album Back to the Light in various formats. And there's a deluxe edition with extra tracks that I've downloaded, and it's very, very good. A lot of the extra tracks I've heard before online, but it's nice to hear them in proper remastered quality in addition to the original album. So it's well worth getting if you're a fan of Queen or Brian May, of course. And there's live renditions of a few hits on there as well, including a version of Tie Your Mother Down featuring Slash from Guns N' Roses. And there are also a few remastered songs from his Brixton Academy live show. It's had an album and a video of its own as well, and hopefully that'll be remastered too as part of this series. And Roger Taylor's also got a new album coming out soon called Outsider, and he's released a track from that featuring Katie Tunstall called We're All Just Trying to Survive. So it's well worth listening to that if you're a fan of Roger's work. And then finally, to finish, not on a Queen note for a change, but I wanted to give a fun little follow-up to an old story that I'd mentioned in an old favourites video last year, because there was a very talented young lady, an 11-year-old girl from Ipswich called Nandi Bushell, who challenged Dave Grohl with the Foo Fighters to an online drum battle, which he got involved with for a bit of fun during lockdown and everything, and there was a great exchange of videos between the two of them. And basically he conceded defeat. He wrote a song about her and said, "You win," because she was incredibly good. And he promised that they would meet one day. And on the 26th of August, she got to perform with the band on stage in Los Angeles. She got to perform with the Foo Fighters, which is awesome. The smile on her face as she does it just shows how much she's enjoying herself, and she screams and really goes for it. So she's a very lucky young lady, and there are videos of that online which are just well worth checking out. She had a great time. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching that. I hope you found that interesting and enjoyable as usual. My September favourites will be very much the same because, again, I haven't been out and about much. So there'll be various bits of entertainment. There's various new TV shows starting this month, for instance, I'm looking forward to seeing, and there's bits and pieces I've been watching online. So there's plenty to share on that front next month. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much again for watching that. Hope you enjoy yourselves with whatever you're doing at the moment, and hope you stay safe. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you for another video very soon. Bye for now.